All right. Well, hello. Lakeisha McKnight is here. Welcome to the Leadership TKO Night Show via podcast. And we're airing live from Chesapeake, Virginia. Now, if you're new and you're not familiar with this podcast, it is a media outlet for the brand, Leadership TKO brand, where TKO stands for Truths That Have Kept the Overcomer. And this brand is housed by the parent company, which is the iLead company. iLead stands for the International Leadership Education and Development. And of course, the last word is company. It is a liability company, limited liability company. And we do have a location also in Nigeria, Africa. So we're really excited about what is going on. We've earlier been focusing on just giving leadership nuggets, right? And we're still going to continue to do that. With the podcast, we normally are here on Mondays at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But many of you know we've been on this campaign, and we're on a campaign where we're doing this particular show Monday through Fridays at 9 o'clock p.m. We've been considering hosting a marathon. Right? A marathon where we talk about leadership. We of course reference other female leaders around the world and kind of talk about some issues that we see within the female community and of course global communities worldwide. And so we're considering that empowerment for women, not just, of course, giving a lot of fluff information, but factual information and just really delving deeper in real stories, right? Just talking about real stories and just reading off and kind of empowering women through stories. And so we're thinking about that. So if you would love for us to have a marathon, definitely here, if you're live and you're listening, let us know in the chat area. You know, a marathon is a great idea. And what type of content would you like to hear during the marathon? So what I'm going to do now, of course, is share. And you can feel free to share as well and let people know online that they need to tune in, of course, to this podcast that's going to be here Monday through Fridays at 9 o'clock p.m. Now, if there is a situation or a moment where we're not here at exactly 9, we may come a little bit after 9 o'clock, but just know we're going to try to be here. And if there's a day where we missed being here, it's, of course, for a great reason, because I am also a parent of 2, right? An 11-month-old as well as a 4-year-old. So parents, you know how that can be sometimes. And so, I'd rather just let you know ahead of time rather than, of course, a moment comes and I'm not here. So right now I'm sharing with people that we are live. It's about 9:04 p.m. on this Friday, the 14th of April. And so I'm encouraging people right now to listen in. So I'm typing in listening to the podcast live. And so that's what I'm typing in. And feel free, of course, to share it on your networks as well. All right. So I'm excited to be here. Hopefully, of course, you're having a wonderful Friday thus far. Okay. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I know there's so many of you who are here around the world. The last time I checked, I saw that we have people from Germany, people from Pakistan, the Virgin Islands. I saw that we had people from Greece. And we have women specifically from South Africa, from the United Kingdom, of course, the United States, Barbados. There were so many other countries from all of you who have been listening in. And again, on behalf of all the leaders a part of the campaign, I want to say thank you. And if you're new, remember this with the campaign, it's myself and there's 5 other women participating in it. There's Maricela Messner, there's Dr. Remy Douye, there's Cheryl Harris Sutton, Shalia McDaniel, and also Takara Steele. So, we're leading this campaign, but we know that we're not the only ones, of course, making this possible. It's because of you listening in, of course, to this podcast all around the world. And of course, our lovely members that have connected officially to this campaign and are within the campaign group on Facebook. And we encourage you to do the same. If you are enjoying what you're hearing and you're enjoying, and definitely can connect with this movement, what we have going on regarding this campaign, feel free to become an official member. It's free to be an official member. All you need to do is visit www.born2lead2017.com. Again, that's born2lead2017.com. And of course, I'm just grateful and thankful for each and every one of you once again, just tuning in and being a part of what we have going on here. It's really important for us to really just connect and to bond. And one of the purposes of this campaign, not only is to bring awareness to issues that we face as women around the world, but to be able to unify us, be able to really knock down these invisible dividing lines that causes, a lot of issues. And a lot of the reasoning is, of course, there's some insecurity and there's some other issues going on within the lives of women around the world. And we're going to deal with those issues. We're going to really get at the heart of some of these issues. And some of it does have a spiritual undertone to it. Let's be honest. It has a spiritual undertone to it, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But again, if you love what we're doing and you can relate, you want to be an advocate, you want to be a part of the solution, definitely join the campaign. We have a couple of women who have been announced as state and country representatives or ambassadors, and this is higher level leadership positions within the campaign. And these ladies are going to work closely with the senior leaders, myself and the other 5 women, to really head this project. We know, the leaders know that we can't do this on our own. We can't do this without you. We want to bring awareness to the solutions to the concerns that we face as women so that we can see things improve, because we're making things happen. I'm not saying that men are not, but we're making things happen. And so it's important for us to come together and unify to support one another. So join us by visiting www.borntolead2017.com. If you can give 5 minutes of your time, an hour of your time per week, and just join us in the group and be a part of what we have going on, that will be great. All right. So you see the title of the episode tonight. You know that we've been focusing in on child abuse, and just to draw the connection, if you're just tuning into what we have going on this week, we know that if we don't shine light on issues that pertain to whether it be our children today or even issues that we may have faced as children coming up, meaning that some of you may have experienced child abuse or child neglect. And it could have hindered you from being where you are today. Many of you are very successful, and there are various reasons why and how you pushed through those situations in your life. And I would love to hear about that. So as a matter of fact, even as I'm talking about this, if you would like to share your story about how you've overcome this issue of child abuse, please, please, please let me know. I would love, of course, to read of your testimony. And, for those of you if you are in the group, we're going to put that out there tonight. Inside of the group as well on Facebook, that if you have a story to share, we would love to hear your story. And we'll put a little template out there so people can submit them, and then we can read them across the podcast. And of course, we can read how people can get connected to them just to be empowered and encouraged through these issues that we're facing or we faced as children coming up, and how we've been able to overcome. Because these women as well will be able to become somewhat of global mentors and global sisters, right? We have a global sisterhood, and that's what I would love to call it, a global sisterhood. So sexual abuse, that's an issue that's talked about a lot during the month of April. This is where a child has been touched, fondled, exposed sexually in any type of sexual nature by a caretaker. All right. There are different types of sexual abuse, and it's a really, really touchy matter. This is where law enforcement has to be involved, because then charges may be filed against the caretaker who has been responsible for it. And so there can be various types of sexual abuse categories. There can be, I think there's exhibition, where a child is exposed to seeing naked body parts. Of course, there is rape, there's molestation. Of course, if a child is fondled, all these things are examples. It doesn't have to be where a child has been penetrated in any type of way, but it can be a situation where they were touched inappropriately. And it's important, parents, it's really important for you to have that talk with your children, to let them know what is good touch, what is bad touch, uncomfortable touch, right? And of course, the areas on their body, whether it be just a leg or whether it be a neck or a private part, either way, it's important for you to have that talk. And some people ask, well, when is the appropriate age to have the talk? Definitely, when I would definitely say even nowadays, honestly, late elementary school age. And I say that because kids are being so exposed. They've been exposed to these things so early, because I was going to say middle school, but nowadays elementary school kids are being exposed to this stuff. It's a shame, but it's true. They've been exposed to this stuff so early. So we have to really address these things as early as possible. And I know sometimes they have seminars at school, but let's be the teachers for our kids first thing in our households, by teaching them about these concerns, these issues, and to really be that voice for them so they can be comfortable in coming to talk to us if there should ever be, God forbid, but if there should ever be a concern such as that, they will be able to come and tell us. Right? So establish that open relationship with your kids where they feel comfortable enough to come and to talk to you about those issues, or an issue that they may have either witnessed or experienced for themselves. So that's important. But those are the categories or some of the examples of sexual abuse. I know there are probably some others that I left out, but these are big. Pornography, being exposed to pornography or anything like that is also considered a part of sexual abuse. Now, if, of course, if a caretaker sexually abused a child and another person knew about it, they can be, of course, held liable as well. Neglectful in the sense of not reporting and letting things like that go on and occur with that child. Right? So they can be held liable and responsible for that. If you are a mandated reporter, meaning that if you are in any way provide care, teaching, guidance, or authority over a child, you are a mandated reporter, professionally or spiritually over a child. You are a mandated reporter, and you're obligated to report any concerns or any suspicions of concerns of sexual abuse to local social service agency or the law enforcement, or both, of course. Okay. It doesn't matter what time of night. It's important for you to report it. And there is an 800 number. Of course, I was looking that up to make sure I provide you all with the right number, but I believe it's something similar to 1-800-4-A-CHILD, something similar to that. You definitely look it up. I don't want to give you the wrong phone number, but look it up. It's really simple. It's a general number for the United States, and I'm quite sure for other countries out there, you all have a specific line as well for sexual abuse or reporting sexual abuse. And I'll be more than happy for all the countries that I know that's listening into the podcast. I'll definitely look up ways in which it can be reported in some of your countries as well. And if you want to educate me, and if you want to provide that number for me so that I can put it out there on the podcast, feel free to do that. So if you're listening in and you're from another country outside of the United States and you have a social services or child abuse hotline number, go ahead and let us know what that number is. You can enter it in the comments area, and we'll be more than happy to announce that this month so that if someone is in that country and they witness or experience child abuse, we want them to go ahead and report that. All right. But the reason why we're highlighting sexual abuse as well is because not only because it's talked about during the month of April, but if these things are not brought to light now, it impacts the child's ability to develop mentally. Of course, it impacts them socially. And they sometimes have these different behaviors that manifest, and parents sometimes don't know why, but it's because of the exposure to this experience that they had, whether once or multiple times. And so some of you may have experienced that yourself. You may have been sexually abused. You know the power of getting help and not getting help if you didn't receive help. But if you have not received help and you believe, you're like, Lakeisha, man, I need some assistance. I need to process this. I need counseling. You can also leave us a comment in response to this podcast episode. We'd be more than happy to help you. Again, I did have some formal education in social work, so feel free to leave a comment there, and I'll be more than happy to give you resources and provide you with some encouragement as well. But here's the thing. If we do not become advocates for children today, they are our future, and they're going to be our future leaders, and we want them to grow up to be as healthy as possible. So in order for us to be able to build healthy leaders, you have to be healthy yourself. And if you're dealing with it, let's deal with it. Let's put it out there on the table and help you to become whole. You are my sister. I am my sister's keeper, and I would love to see you whole. So definitely provide a comment in the comments area if this is something you're dealing with, if it's something you still need healing for in your life. Definitely leave a comment. We'll be more than happy to just talk with you and help you to process the things that happened in your childhood as well. But again, I just wanted to bring to light this topic tonight. We're going to continue to talk about child abuse next week. But for those of you who didn't know, that's experience that I had as well. Now, there was no penetration necessarily with me, but exposure and fondling and different things like that. So this is where I am today. Everyone has their own journey. I dealt with it, of course, in a spiritual way of being able to handle it. But there's counseling. There's so many things, of course. I began to speak about it and become more vocal about it, which brought about healing for me. Now, you may need some other type of coping mechanism. So you might have to try that for yourself, a different way of coping and dealing with your experiences of your past. But whatever it is, you can get through it. You can get through it. God is there. He's there with you. He's an ever-present God, and he's always there in your time of need. So all you need to do is just call on him. Especially if you believe in God, just call on him. He's there. He's right with you, right where you are right now. So all you need to do is just trust and believe, give it to him, and he will help you through the situation. So again, if you're not familiar with the Leadership TKO brand, of course, visit the website, www.leadershiptko.com. And of course, to get connected to this campaign, right? I would love to have you connected. Visit www.born2lead2017.com. Love to get to know you and meet you inside of the Facebook group and hopefully at our upcoming events that we have going on this year. Our first event being on May 27th in Portsmouth, Virginia. It's the Leadership TKO Women's Leadership Convention taking place, and we would love for you to come. You can definitely learn more about it. Grab your ticket as well by visiting www.leadershiptkoconvention.com. leadershiptkoconvention.com. But I'm Lakeisha McKnight. Of course, the weekend is coming up. It's here for some of you, depending on where you're located. I want to say thank you for being a part and being connected to this campaign. But until next week, remember to think, speak, and live leadership.